The Forged Youth Legacy Within team is growing, and I'm so excited to introduce to you today our newest team member, and it is Jordan Owens. Now, Jordan has actually been a podcast guest before, but his episode doesn't launch until next week. So today you're getting a little precursor. We're going to dive into why Jordan wanted to join Forged, what his passion is around performance mindset coaching and giving back to youth and parents, as well as what is actually going on here at Forged Youth and what the future looks like for everybody who's walking with us. Let's dive in. Jordan, it is your first podcast recording with us as a member of the team. That is so exciting.
Yeah, thank you for having me. We have we've had our podcast, but the listeners haven't heard it, so they'll have to stay tuned for that. But yeah, first official podcast as a team, and I'm excited. I'm excited for the future.
Me as well. And I just think that I want to acknowledge the fact that life brings us people when we like, I feel like I manifested you, bro, because I needed somebody who understood sports at a high level, who had a really good work ethic and just believed so wholeheartedly in mental training and building into youth. And then all of a sudden you were a guest on my podcast and it just clicked. And
Yeah.
so, yeah.
Yeah, it is divine, and I'm right with you there as like the manifestation piece because I have been retired now from hockey for, I think this would be like the seventh season that I would have been starting like right now. My Facebook is all like memories, and it's me, my former posts, like starting training camp in New York, blah blah blah. So this is, I look at life through like seasons. I'm still on the hockey season schedule, um, and it would be seven seasons, but it's taken this long for me to come back around to hockey. When I left hockey, it was like, I don't want anything to do with hockey. I want to go prove to the world that I'm more than just a hockey player, and I can find my footing in different lanes and survive and do things that people never thought I was capable of. And I was able to do that. And I'm at peace with that. But now it's like hockey. It's in my DNA. And now it's time to take on a different sort of I don't know, persona towards it. Now from like the coaching perspective, and like how can I give back and help the youth in areas that I wish I had help at. Like it's so easy to look back and be like, oh, if I just had someone, someone who was in my corner,
Mm-hmm.
it would have been maybe a totally different path. Not to say I have regrets, but like, it's easy to look back now and be like, oh, I needed someone at that moment.
Mm-hmm.
I hope to be that person for a young athlete out there.
Yeah, you will be, I know. And I resonate with that and have so much respect for that. And that piece about finding your identity outside of sport and tapping into that and really knowing who you are when sports end is a big piece. Like I did the same thing. When sports ended for me, it was, okay, who am I? How do I navigate myself in this world? You know,
Mm,
it was difficult. It was a difficult thing because you're always, Jordan the hockey player, Mariel the volleyball player, whatever that looks like, right? And so that is also a big part of why I really love what we do here at Forge, because we get to help athletes and their parents walk the path of your identity isn't in your sport, it's not what you do, it's who you are. So that's really cool.
mm, mm.
And like, let's talk a little bit about your history with hockey, though. What, like, when did you start playing? Were you the player that started like teeny tiny?
Yeah, I was actually. And it's funny because my son, he's 2.5 and he's already on his way. Like he might not play hockey, but he really likes hockey. We have the mini stick set up in the living room, and he walks around on skates. He hasn't been on the ice yet, but he has skates and he wants them on him. He tries to wear them to bed sometimes. And I like duct tape the whole bottom, like the skate guard. I had to like duct tape it on because it's like this cotton skate guard. And he was sliding out on the hardwood floors. So it's a funny look, but he likes being into skates. And I'm like, wow, like he's like me, you know? But yeah, I started skating when I was three, I think, and then, started organized hockey as soon as I could. My parents put me in it, and I just stuck with it. And that was my reality. That's what I thought the world was like me playing hockey. That's all it was. Literally my entire life until I retired when I was 33.
Okay.
Yeah. So then it's like, as you said, just trying to figure it all out, try to create a new identity for yourself and let go of the old one. And it's very difficult. It's hard. It's a very, very hard thing. And it's something that you can't be prepared for. That's
Mhm.
what I'm noticing. I'd love to help players in ease that burden, but it's one of those things you just have to experience for yourself. And I think us as mentors or facilitators, or that's what we have to be, more like facilitators for these people and just sort of hold their hand and be like, it's okay. It's okay. Like this is hard, but like it's okay. I can't tell you what to do or tell you how you're gonna feel, or you just have to experience it and go through it.
Yeah, I agree with that. And it's just about equipping them, right? Like you can equip them with the tools so that they have them, but everybody's going to have their own unique experience. And then just the fact that the kids who, work with mindset coaches and have those parents who do understand passing on emotional regulation and goals that, all of these pieces that we really work with youth, then they at least have the tools, and then as they go through their own journey, they get to choose to use them or not. I'm not going to lie. I had the tools and you didn't use them for quite a while because you just try and navigate things on your own as you do when you're a young person. We're all wired to kind of go our own way and independence and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, just being able to have the tools so that when you are ready to use them, then you have
Mhm.
that opportunity.
Yeah, and just for the record, I was sort of like referring to life after sport, but life during sport, like, oh my God, I had some tools, like the few tools that were in my belt, thanks to this book, Hockey Tough.
Mm.
Unbelievable book. I just picked it up the other day and I'm like, oh my God, the power in this book, like I didn't even realize it at the time. I took things out of it and used them and I think that is the reason that I was able to sustain myself as a professional, just
Mm.
make it over the hump. It's like one thing to get there, have a cup of coffee, and some people just don't survive. They don't find a way to bring value to the team and like and sort of like grow their game
Yeah.
at the highest level. They just can't figure it out and they fail, and then that's it, the end of your career. That book helped me get over the hump to the
Mm.
point where it's like, okay, yeah, I'm a professional. Like I look at myself and I'm like, no, I belong here. I'm a professional hockey player. This isn't just a cup of coffee. But
Mm.
the tools, like, yeah, again, if I could go back in time, having a performance coach, a mindset coach, like best investment, especially when you get to, you know, when you're serious about your sport, it's competitive. It's like, this is what I do.
Mm.
It's, yeah, probably the best invest. Okay, I'm obviously biased, but it is the best investment an athlete can make in themselves.
Yeah, I agree with you because at the end of the day, and you talk to so many like coaches, not even mindset coaches, just coaches of professional teams, collegiate teams, whatever that is, as players get older and their skills develop, that everybody is amazing at their skill. So
Yeah.
what is starting to set players apart is the mindset piece. It is the, like you said, adding value to the team. How are you adding value to the team outside of your good defense or your serve receive or whatever that skill is for that sport? Are you able to be a leader on the team and be able to bounce back from mistakes and be able to, like, all of these pieces? I recently got into watching the Canadian Elite Basketball League, which is like all these players that go, it's like the Canadian version of the NBA.
Yeah.
For those of you who are listening and don't know what that is. And it's so fun to watch. We have a local team here in Vancouver, and I believe he's the captain of the team, Mitch Creek. He won MVP for the league. And it's interesting because watching him, I watched quite a few games and watching him, yes, he's a good player. But are there other players on the team who are taking more risks, making more shots, like all of those things? Yes. However, the guy is solidly consistent with his attitude, with his bouncing back after he does make a mistake, with checking in with teammates, with calming down the coach, even like all of these little pieces that are like, okay, that makes me as a coach, that's the player I want on my team.
Yeah.
Not necessarily the one that's sinking every three
Yeah.
and then having a really bad attitude when he gets fouled or whatever, right?
Yeah.
So I agree with you that it is like, yes, we are biased, but also we've both been there as a player and it does set you apart. So
Yeah. Consistency is like, oh, sorry. Consistency is is it. Consistency is everything. Like as an athlete, everyone, as a competitive athlete, like all your teammates can have a great practice or a great game, and you're like, oh wow, that person's, they got it. But then it's like 10 bad games in a row, and then they have a good one. It's like
mm,
unless you can do it every single night, that level of consistency, like that's what's going to distinguish you. And it's not even about having your A+ game every night. It's like have an A+ game. Obviously, that's what we aim for, but on the average, it's like have it A+, A-. A bad game is a B. It's not a D, an E, or an F. It's a B,
yeah,
and then it's like A+.
yeah,
So you don't have to like have those mystical experiences as an athlete every single night, but like you have to be consistently good. And then that's what helps you earn trust with your coach because the coach knows what they're going to get out of you on an everyday basis.
yeah, yeah, I agree with that. And your teammates too. Like as as a teammate, I am going to have so much trust and respect for the player that I know that I can rely on. Even if they make a mistake, I'm not worried about their downward spiral because I
Yeah.
know that they're just going to shake it off and get back in there. And so it's okay.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was reading, so I told you I opened up Hockey Tough again, and there was this one part in the book. He's like he comes to, I think it was training camp. He's describing NHL training camp, and he's like, okay, guys, like we've made it. We're at the top of the top. And he was sort of asking the players like, what percentage of this game is mental and how much is physical? So he's like, put your hands up if you think it's 20%, and like a couple people 30%, a couple more 40, and he goes all the way up to like 80%. And most people are like, it's 80%. It's more mental than it is physical by a
Mhm.
long shot. So that's, I think, if you ask any professional athlete, they're going to agree with you. It's more mental than it is physical. Once you reach a certain level, you look around, everybody's good. Everybody's so good, right? So then he asks, how many of you believe that um, being stronger and faster and more explosive and having good endurance, all these things will make you a better athlete and help you perform better? And they're all like, hands up. How many of you invest your time, energy, and money in a strength and conditioning coach? All of them put their hands up. And he's like, okay, well, if it's more mental than it is physical, how many of you have invested in the mental side of your game? How many have you invested in mental training? Nobody's hand goes up. So it's interesting
Yeah.
that something so obvious is not commonplace. And
Hmm.
that really stuck out with me just the other night when I was reading the book. I'm like, oh my God, I read this 15 years ago and it just didn't hit, but now it does.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah, I agree with that. And I think that it is starting a little bit more to come out of the woodwork. And I think that also there was maybe some misconception around the fact that like mental training and mental health are maybe the same thing. And so if you're struggling with maybe it could be like foreseen that if you're struggling with the mental side of your game, then something is wrong and you're struggling with mental health, like, and there could be like a whole stigma kind of wrapped up around it. And while I believe that, yes, there is a correlation between mental health and mental training, it also isn't the same thing.
mhm.
And that mental training is actually just a part of the game, whatever game you're playing, whatever sport you're playing, there is a mental aspect. And the skills that you learn when you're working with a mindset performance coach doing the mental training those are, like you said, they're vital to the sport. We can't just expect athletes to know them. Just like we can't expect, your son to get on ice skates and just know how to skate without actually having some guidance there and having, breaking it down into this is how you move your leg. I should not be speaking to how you ice skate because I'm the bad Canadian that doesn't know how to freaking ice skate. Okay? I will learn this winter. But but you break it down into small movements and small motions and all those things and you teach them the skill.
Hmm.
And that doesn't mean that there's anything wrong with them because they don't know that skill right away. That's the same thing with mental training. They're all little skills and techniques that they've been studied over time and they've been, used and they're proven right and all these things. So just like you said, if we're spending time on, goalie specific training or strength and conditioning or all of these things, then it would make sense to also spend the time and the investing into the mental aspect of the game.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, it seems so obvious now, but it's
Mhm.
like, yeah, working through yesterday, we were working through some of the Forged Youth content or curriculum, and we were playing around, and you were sort of teaching it to me, and we were we were going through it just like I was a student of the program, and I felt real value in it. I'm like, oh, but like it was real. It wasn't like a practice session. It was a real session, right? Um, and I recognized immediately like the utility in it,
Mhm.
and not only in sport though, because like the world between sport and real life, like it's sometimes it's a blurry line, and a lot of the tools, um, work in real life too. Just sitting in the car today, I'm like, I was thinking about it, just the neutralizer, like resetting my mind, right, and coming back to my breath, and yeah, just wiping the slate clean, right? They're powerful techniques. And I'm excited because I am playing senior A hockey this year. So I'm like, oh, this is great. Yeah, let's see. Let's put these tools into action. So I have to be patient a few more weeks.
I'm excited. I'm excited to see and hear you using them and then bringing it back and being like, I used this and this is how it worked. Or
Sure.
it's
For
going to be
sure.
so good.
For sure. Yeah, it's honestly the perfect environment. I'm just okay, never mind. Sorry, ignore that. It's the perfect sort of situation because I will get to test things out, but also I'm 39 years old. I haven't played like a real game of hockey in almost 3 years. I was playing senior A a few years ago.
Mhm.
Um, so I'm 39 now, and there's a part of me that's like, do you still have it? Have you lost it? Can you keep up? It's a young league. These kids are fast. They're strong. They have better skill than you do now. They could shoot
Mhm.
the puck harder. Like the list can go on, right?
Mhm.
So it's almost I had these same sort of feelings as a rookie back when I was 20 years old,
Okay.
entering the American Hockey League. So it's just completely flipped, and it's fun because I got to a point in my career where it's kind of like, okay, I've done this. I've proven like I've mastered this domain. I can survive and do this for a living. But now it's like having to reprove yourself right back to the bottom of the totem pole. So there's
Mhm.
going to be a whole mental side to the game, especially with the expectations that the team has signing a player and bringing them in with certain history and everything. It's like, are you going to live up to the expectations the teammates, and the fans and the community have?
Mhm.
So yeah, I'm just excited for all of it, and especially to use the tools that we're teaching.
Yeah, and I think that that is a really good opportunity to talk about the fact that like it doesn't matter what sport you're in. This is like one of the actually really cool pieces about what I'm learning with Forged and working with elite athletes kind of like globally is that it is not unique to sport, the struggle of playing under pressure, the setting goals, the struggling with the parent and the youth athlete dynamic and nutrition and recovery and all of these pieces that are really vital to sport they're not vital to a specific sport. And so it's like hockey, volleyball, swimming, tennis, it doesn't matter. The same core issues are there. And then also those same issues show up in life after sport. And it doesn't matter how old you are. It doesn't matter how old you are. You're going into a job, just like how you're talking about being signed onto this hockey team and, having expectations and you have this history. Well, what about somebody having an amazing resume and going to a new job and all of a sudden they have all these responsibilities and expectations and pressures, and how are you dealing with that? Well, where did you learn those skills to learn how to deal with that? Did you learn them? Did somebody actually take the time to teach them to you? And so that is one of the key things that I really love about what we do here at Forged is that, yes, we are 100% focused on sports and focused on what I like to say, unleashing the beast for all these youth athletes to really just like tap into their limitless potential and just go. But sports are actually just the vehicle. They're the vehicle for teaching these youth athletes how to do that same thing in life.
Yeah.
And it's so exciting to me. And so, because if you sit down any teenager and you go, okay, I'm going to teach you how to perform well under pressure for when you get a job, they're going to be like, okay, screw you, like walk out the door, right?
Yeah.
But if you do it in a way in which their sport is going to benefit, then they're going to sit down and they're going to listen and they're going to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's so true. All those the sports adversity, if you overcome it, it translates and it equips you for the world outside of sport. Like I think this is widely accepted. I think the only people who don't realize this is the athletes themselves while they're going through it.
Yeah.
But being out of sport now and being a self-employed person who has to hire people, um, I'm looking at the athletes because especially competitive athletes, people who have, played in college or even made it to professional level, I know what I'm going to get. I know I'm going to get a person who shows up on time because in competitive sports, you don't show up on time. You're late to a meeting. Like you could be done. Depending who you are, it could be like you're just done. Like go home, Or if you're someone else, it's like, okay, in hockey, okay, you're not going to play the first period or you're not going to play at all tonight.
Hey there. Quick pause to say thank you. If you're listening right now, you're already a part of something powerful. We're here to help young athletes and their families build grit, resilience, and purpose, and your support makes that possible. Did you know that over half of podcast listeners never hit follow? That one click actually helps us grow, get bigger, and reach more people who need to hear this. So if you're enjoying this episode, please hit follow or subscribe. It's free, it takes a second, and it really does mean the world to us. Now, back to the show.
My first job was as a software developer in a startup downtown Toronto. And for our meetings, people were showing up late all the time. Like when I say late, if you're like 1 minute late, to me, you might as well be 10 minutes late. Yeah. That's just how I see the world now. Um, so I just couldn't get over it. People are just late and it's normal. So yeah, back to me being a person who has to hire people. I'm like, showing up on time is a big deal, and committing to something and getting it done on time is a big deal. And being a person who's positive to be around, who's not a cancer for the team or the organization or company, that's a big deal, right? So all these skills, like you can't make it as a competitive athlete if you don't do those things. Yeah. So yeah, if I see someone who's played at a high level sport, I'm hiring them for sure. I'll train them to do like the hard skill, but those soft skills are what employers are really after. Yeah, I agree with that. And it's interesting. I read a stat the other day that said that 90% of female entrepreneurs or CEOs of large scale companies all have sports in their background. I don't know what it is for males. I saw it for females, and I was like, yeah, that plays out. Like that makes total sense to me. And I'm laughing at the timing thing and the being late because if I was we had to be 15 minutes early for practice. And if we weren't, we were late, even if we were before the start time. Yeah. Right. And then we were running. Like I had this crazy we just run, like you bring garbage cans into the gym and be like, that's where you puke. Like it was insane.
Or
Yeah.
volleyball. We don't even run that much in volleyball, people.
Yeah, and you know what? There's stories. If there's some hockey listeners, they'll know the name John Tortorella. He's an infamous NHL coach. He's been around the game a long time, won a Stanley Cup. He was in New York. He was coaching when I was like going to the training camps in New York with the Rangers. And like one of the vets told me, like the first day, it's like if there's a bus and then the bus is at 1 o'clock, like you make sure you're here like at least 15 minutes before because he's known to leave like 5 minutes before the scheduled takeoff time. Like the bus is just gone 5 minutes before it was supposed to leave, you know? So yeah, so at the highest levels, it's just how they roll. So if you're not ready for that, yeah, watch out.
Watch out. So, why do you want to, and why did you come join Forge when we're focused really on youth? Where is the importance in that for you, and what kind of lights your spark in that?
Mhm. For me, I like connection and I see the power of it. Like for me, I have experience in hockey. Um, working with Forge and teaching a certain curriculum is interesting to me. But I see the value and the importance for young athletes to have someone in their corner, someone who's not their friend. You're the friend, but it's like a little bit of a different relationship. You're not their parents. Your parents can be ultra supportive. I had very, very supportive parents, but they just were not, they were almost too supportive that it was like I couldn't believe what they were saying because I knew that they were just overly supportive. If I had a bad game, no, Jordan, you had a great game. You looked amazing. And it's like, I know that's not true, but that's what parents do, right? So there's an element of truthfulness that's missing in that relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas a coach can be someone who is unconditionally in your corner, but they can hold you accountable. They can give advice at times. They can guide you. Um, they can criticize in a way, and if that relationship is strong enough, you're not defensive about it.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully, I hope with the youth that I work with, they trust me enough to know that I'm not criticizing them for the sake of criticizing them. I'm genuinely trying to help them with all of my heart, you know, and and getting them to a place where they can, have some type of an awakening and belief. Like if I can cultivate the belief in themselves, like I can help them believe that they're capable of accomplishing anything and achieving their goals, like my work is done. Like that's you're gonna carry that on, through your life, and I see the importance of that. I'm a parent, myself, and I like working with youth and teaching them and knowing when to push and when to pull and these type of things. They're instinctual. You pick them up along the way. But yeah, it's mainly just about support and being the person that I didn't have in my journey.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you for sharing. And that is exactly what we do here at Forge, and it's really neat. Like we work with youth ages 11 to 24, and I love that that is our age demographic because around 11 to 12, that is when every human's brain is starting to do the click over into independence from mom and dad. And it like biologically it's supposed to do that so that youth back in caveman days were driven over that they didn't want to be with their parents and they went away to find a new tribe to have children and all those things, and then they would find their way back to their parents, kind of a thing, right? And so nowadays it's not so similar that people are leaving communities when they're 12 years old and all that kind of stuff. But we see that there is like some power dynamics and struggles with teenagers. Everybody jokes about it. It's very real. I have a 13-year-old daughter. Do you think that I can teach her anything with mindset coaching? No, I can't. It doesn't matter if I know everything about it. Not everything, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Right. And so it's really cool to be able to step in at this time frame with these youth and be the adult in their corner, like you said, that has really like deep level connection with them, that earns their trust and their respect, and therefore can really guide them and mentor them. I like to say like walk with them.
Yeah.
Like we're just walking beside them in their journey. There's been so many times where it's like on a weekend and all of a sudden my phone is like bing, 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 because one of my athletes is at a competition and they're like losing their marbles and stressed out and in the bathroom about to cry and they're like, Coach, this is what I'm doing. Da, 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 da. And it's like how much of an honor it's
Yeah.
for an adult to be the person that a youth is reaching out to when they're in crisis. And that's the kind of, relationships that we're developing here with our coaching with these athletes is that when they're getting themselves into sticky situations, I've even had it where it has nothing to do with the sport. There's like some crazy thing that's going down with drama with the team and the girls, and like all that kind of stuff, and they don't know how to navigate it.
Yeah.
And so they reach out because I always say, you can text me anytime, right? We have one-on-one meetings every week. So if you want, you can save it and we can talk about it then. But if you feel like you need to talk to somebody, I'm in your corner. That's right. And as a parent, that is what I want for my kid
Yeah.
is to have a trusted adult who has skills, who wants them to be a strong, resilient, independent young person to thrive in life, to be their call
Yeah.
in sport, without sport. And so that is why I absolutely love what we do here. And then another piece of what we're doing at Forge, which is really, I think it's really cool. It's something that's a little bit different than a lot of other um, sport coach, like performance coaches. And that is that we're creating community for the parents because parenting elite athletes is so different. Like it is or really high achieving youth. It doesn't necessarily have to be sports. It can be academics. It can, whatever that is, right? But a high achieving young person, like we're hard on ourselves. And we sometimes struggle finding the balance between like trying to make something perfect when there is no such thing and discipline and where's our balance, are we getting enough food, like you're like all of these different things that you don't necessarily have to deal with. And I think parents are in a really unique situation where they feel like they are the family's performance director, where they're having to navigate schedules and nutrition and like they think that they need to be coaching and giving feedback on the mental and the skills and all of these things, but have parents been given support or resources to how know how to do that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Not necessarily.
Yeah.
And so I'm really excited. Come October, we're going to be launching a parent specific community where there are those resources and all the curriculum that is being taught to the athletes is there for the parents to learn as well. Because you can, like you were just saying, you're learning it and you're instilling it into your own life and it's making a difference. I am too. And kids learn by watching and absorbing.
Yeah.
Right. And so here you go. Here's all the information. Here's support group calls, like all this kind of stuff, so that the parents are getting support, the youth is getting support, and all of a sudden we have like a holistic way to help families thrive.
Yeah. Yeah. It's such a beautiful thing. Just listening to you speak, my mind is going back to junior hockey and having a bad game. And we'd always go for dinner. I'd go with my grandparents after the game down the street to like Kelsey's. And if I had a bad game, I was like, just,
Mm.
oh, I don't even know what they were thinking, but I would be just silent and be just so furious, like boiling inside. And they didn't know how to navigate that. I didn't know how to release that energy. That energy needed to move through me. I didn't know how to put it behind me. I had no tools back then.
Yeah.
But yeah, from my grandparents' perspective and my parents, they were like, it was like walking on eggshells. It was like playing with dynamite. It might blow up any second, right? And really, I'm just thinking back right now, like what did I want at that time? And I think it was just like I didn't want to talk about it at the moment. I didn't want to hear, oh, you had such a good game, or like it's okay, everything. Like I just wanted peace, and every athlete is a bit different. Going out for me, maybe going out for dinner and just having a silent dinner and we just be. like that's maybe what I wanted, but I didn't know as a kid how to voice that. And my grandparents didn't know what to say, and they started to talk, and it just made things worse. So like, yeah, I can't agree more. Having something in place for parents or guardians, or like, that first tier of like support is essential in an athlete's development.
Hmm. Yeah, I'm so excited.
Mhm.
Amazing. Well, Jordan, do you have anything else that you think that we should talk about today, or do you have any questions? Anything that you think is imperative?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. I have one more last thing to say, and that is I did mention that in October we're going to be launching this group for parents, and we're doing it with kind of like a big celebration. We're doing a mastermind series, and it's Performance Parenting Mastermind Series, and it's going to be on every Wednesday in October because there's 5 Wednesdays in October. And each Wednesday, we're going to have an hour, and we have like pro hockey coaches. We have parents of a current Olympic athlete. We've got youth athlete nutritionists, recovery and proactive injury specialists. Like, there's so many different people coming in to provide free support for those parents and guardians just because we want to add value to your lives. We want to give you things that would have been important for us to have when we were younger, or our parents to have when we were younger. And so just watch out for that information. It'll be dropping very soon, and make sure that you sign up. As well as Jordan's actual podcast with Forged is going to be dropping next week from when you hear this. Yes, if I've got that right. So if you want to tune in, which you should, and hear more about his specific journey and tools that he really, utilized and all that kind of stuff, make sure that you tune in next week for that. Sweet.
Beautiful.
And everybody, until next time, train your mind, build your grit, and forge your legacy.
You've been listening to Forged Youth. New episodes drop every week, so if this hits home for you, throw us a follow and subscribe. Forged Youth, where resilience is trained.